We know the Batman villains are wonderful. We know they've got so much depth and lore and really add to the whole mystique of Batman and Gotham City and the dark side of DC, the gritty side. Who are some other characters that would be good for the Batman treatment?
I think the one I always go back to, because it seems like that's the one they go back to, especially in the... Hey everyone, this is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money, with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's been going on?
Hey man, it's good to talk to you again, as we do every week here. It's been quiet for me, actually, and there's some things that came up. Not much news on Elon. We got some election news that happened this week. We've both been watching and talking about the Batman and Onomatopoeia, but I think it's like the lull before the holiday storm of 2024 and before we start rolling in 2025. So I think that's just the vibe that we're feeling right now. So I don't know. How have you been?
Man, thanks for asking. I'm doing wonderful, man. I just got back from Nashville, Tennessee. Have you ever been to Nashville?
Very quickly. I went through Nashville, passed through, saw some things, but it was so fast I didn't really get a chance to soak it up.
Yeah, just one of those cities, like outside of Atlanta, starting to get a little hypeness around it. And so I had a chance to go there for a conference. And one of the reasons why we're recording this a day a little later of our typical recording schedule. But yeah, man, I had a good time down there. Have you been any of the Gaylord convention centers, hotel stays, resorts? Have you been in any of those?
Probably.
They're huge.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like it's like a hotel, but it's so big and massive. They have a river in there where you can ride a boat. They have
I haven't been around one of those, then never mind.
Yeah. They have a lot of them out there, man. There's one in Orlando, not too far from me here in Tampa. They have one in Nashville, one in DC, one in Dallas. I've been to a few of those. But yeah, so we had the conference there. It's Christmas season, like you mentioned. So obviously I was there, October 31st, like Halloween. Literally, the tree was up, but the lights weren't turned on. But as soon as it turned 12:01 a.m., November 1st, that bitch was turned up. It was like Christmas everywhere. So people do not wait, man. It is ready. It is Christmas season, man.
Yeah, man. I heard the Christmas music already playing. There's some jazz version of Little Drummer Boy. It's like pop, rumpa. And I was like, what the heck is this? Oh my goodness. Holiday music.
It is ready, man. We got 2 months mad scramble now. This is it. So yeah, man. So basically that's what my last conference for the year for my business. Mm-hmm. And then now looking to get a few more sales in. This is also, are we going to talk about Mr. Benja? James, go ahead. Make a short real quick on this one. James, go do it. If you guys don't know, that's our editor, James. We give him a shout out every now and then. This is election season. And here in the United States, we have a big election coming up. Mr. Benja, obviously you and I are no longer in swing states. So even here in Florida, they don't care about us. In California, they damn sure don't care about you. So we're solid in our camps, wherever that's red or blue. You guys to figure out which is which. But I have friends in Georgia, got friends in North Carolina, in Pennsylvania, Nevada. What's the other one? Michigan. Yeah, man, they've been being bombarded by ads, marketing, podcasts, say, please vote. How are you feeling about this election? We're not going to really go into the candidates per se, guys, on this pod. This is not that pod.
Yeah,
we made a moment set.
Maybe it's just me getting older and a little more annoyed by the circus, the 3-ring circus, the shenanigans. But maybe it's social media. Maybe this is really different now. We said it was really different, but combination of these things, I'm just like, just let it be done. Let it be over with already. I got this book coming, Job Booking, where I'm talking about writing down notes. And hey, if you need to write something down and say it, do that. And right when I'm doing that, I see this post from, I won't say who, I see this post online, and it's talking about Cardi B talking with her phone. And then come out, I'm like, what are we doing here? And I'm not even gonna try to do the Cardi B accent, but it was just this whole thing of, well, clearly these kids aren't voting. Who are the kids listening to? Let's go to Cardi B.
It's just that pandering on both sides. I saw Beyonce out there. I've never heard Beyonce. She didn't even sing. She just talked. I'm like, wow. So they got Beyonce out here talking. They got J-Lo out here get in the streets.
Yeah.
Then, on the other side, you got, showing up on Joe Rogan's podcast for 3 hours.
Yeah. Trump
Showing up
himself,
on
right?
showing up on Theo Vaughn's podcast. So it's to your point. They're trying to break through, and then traditional media like CNN, ABC, they're like crying, "Oh, they don't want to talk to us no more." And it just shows you the relevancy of how irrelevant they are now. And I talked about this before, but Daniel Priestley, the author of Oversubscribed, he talked about this clearly. He said, presidential elections, especially in the United States, are like the Super Bowl of marketing. So you find out what they're doing and how they're winning messaging. Mm-hmm. That's where the future of marketing is going. And so you can see it in this election. So the example was Obama used Facebook effectively. So Facebook was the new generation. Cambridge Analytica in 2016, they used the data analytics to segment, target folks in different categories. This election has been about going on podcasts, right? Connecting with influencers. And you can see Trump is seeing great leads in young men because of that.
As long as I don't get anything too cringe, then I'll still stay invested. Like, speaking of Cardi B, if she comes out with an election song called DAP, then I'm done. That the D stands for Democrat there, by the way. Nobody wants. We already know about WP. We just don't want the DAP song coming out. Don't do it.
I'm trying to think. What would be the acronym, though?
Same thing. Just replace W with Democrat.
Would it be?
I don't want it. I should have brought that up actually, but
no. I love it. We got to talk about it. Shit. I mean, look, we got one of the presidential candidates. I'm not going to say who simulated oral sex. It is what it is. The election we're in said that one candidate was on the corner, or at least someone shouted it and he laughed at it. It's that type of election. The sad part is if one side wins, it will embolden the other side to use their tactics for the future. So I think it would be worse. So 2 things I predict. Number one, this is my predictions. Number one, obviously, if one side wins that is using methods that we feel are questionable, I won't say who, but I think people will take the wrong lessons from that and start trying to emulate that to win all elections, which will be a terrible mess, right? So just people just saying whatever, lying, trying to come up with stuff, and that would be mess. And then the second lesson, I don't think elections can be boring anymore anyway. I think we have to do this. Even on the Democratic side, they had to basically kick the current president out in order to make it interesting again. Because if they didn't, they were going to lose. So it gets to a point where both parties have to figure out what's going to be the most interesting or the thing that's going to grab the attention most from the populace, because we're all so busy with so much content. The algorithms never leave us alone. The bots never leave us alone. So how do you break through that? And you have to come up with either a controversial candidate or some kind of craziness that happens. And that's what happened on both sides this election year. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, I think this is the future of politics. Craziness. What do you think? You think my prediction is accurate? Uh-oh. I can't hear you, Mr. Benja. Can you hear me? We are out. So while Mr. Benja tries to get back online, maybe it's on my side too, guys. So we're going to figure this out. But look, we don't talk politics on this that often. So what we try to do is just try to get people excited about what's possible, and not just elections, but just building your business and also the entertainment aspect and all the lessons you can learn from it. It's nothing more entertaining than the election, in my opinion. It's just fascinating how these folks are pandering and doing everything they can to keep you engaged in this ongoing struggle to get your votes. So that is fascinating to me. So I think those are some of the things we're trying to figure out. Whoever depends on who they win, then it's going to be interesting to see what's the next phase of this going forward. Yeah, it's just very fascinating to me to see, where we can build this coalition for the future of politics, but also for marketing. So we're learning a lot here. Yeah. So I don't know, man. So it's just going to be one of those things. So look, if you like politics, this ain't that kind of pod, but I think there's lessons we can all learn to understand what the next level could be for the future. Yeah. So anyways, we wait for Mr. Benja to get back on. I think some of the things that I try to think through is what's the future of marketing? Because as I'm building my business, this is a labor of love, guys. If you didn't know, that's what me and Mr. Benja do every week to give you guys the latest on politics and technology and everything like that. Mr. Benja, what's up? Can you hear me? Oh man, I cannot hear you, Mr. Benja. I don't know if this on my side or your side. So can you hear me? Test, Mr. Benja. Are you there? Are you there? Oh wow, you can hear me fine, but guys, I can't hear him. Oh no, this is not good. I don't know how we're gonna do this. Oh, there he is. He's back. What up? What up? He's back.
Oh my God.
What happened with the bone?
No, I decided to check all the basics here. You know how they say, make sure, did you turn power back on? Did you turn it on and off? Something may have happened. I may have brushed up against the little cord here and it hit the audio off button.
Hey, he's back. That's all that matters, Mr. Benja. I was riffing, man. I was doing my thing, talking about the Alexa, man. We might have lost some subscribers while you were gone. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. This is how we keep it, man. We keep it real and raw,
uncut.
Hey, man, you know what you could do though is replace me with an AI broadcaster. I don't know if you've heard about people doing this. And I wondered about this sometimes where it's like, hey, you know what? If I want to go on vacation, can I just throw up an AI version of myself? And apparently people are trying this. Theo, you sent me this link here, this article about a Polish broadcaster let me just read the story here real quick. Polish radio station launched a channel run almost entirely by artificial intelligence, including having AI presenters. And they've decided to end that experiment after less than a week on the air following backlash against the idea. Theo, what's going on in Poland?
We talked about this. That's another one of my predictions, just the prevalence of AI influencers starting to take over for traditional, basically human-based jobs like interviewing people, hosting a podcast. It's starting to proliferate. And I think the backlash from Poland came from people who used to work at the radio station, right? Saying, hey, this is taking jobs away from us. And I think this is going to be something we'll see more and more of. I tell people all the time, AI, once it gets good enough, if it can replace people as a business owner, your biggest cost, like you can get AI to do a lot of this stuff for you, whether it's we'll talk about maybe later, computer use or AI agents to do actual physical work, and in front of camera or interviewing people or even as sales, like sales development representatives who reach out to potential customers to set up cold calls. Man, that's a game changer, man. So it's unfortunate that people are starting to realize this more and more.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting because there's the human side that wants to hold on to, hey, let's keep people around. Let's keep the actual human person to person connection for certain things. And if you're talking about a podcast, a lot of times you want to actually hear people, and even just the knowledge of, no, this isn't a real person. This is just some AI construct pulling information off the internet and constructing a presentation or a show for you. That alone is enough to you back off from it. Because even with cartoons and things, like, yeah, they're not real. There are people behind the scenes drawing, allegedly, writing, allegedly, and actually voicing these characters, allegedly. So we think that, okay, this is actually developed by someone. There's that real connection to it. And that's where a lot of people get confused with art. It's like, why would I pay $100,000 for this? A couple scribbles on some cheap paper and everything. It's like, it's the idea. There's the person. There's this and that. There's this whole human discussion going on. But when it gets mechanized or turned to a machine, it loses a lot, man. I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel about a lot of this, just in the stuff we have and do?
Yeah, man, you can tell by my shoulder shrug. I'm believing that. Yeah, I think it is what it is, man. I absolutely believe in our lifetime we will see a celebrity AI, and that would be a game changer. Because if you can figure out how to get something popular that's artificial, then. But if it doesn't happen in our lifetime, if it doesn't happen in the next 5 years, then maybe it won't happen. So I don't know. Is there an uncanny valley that AI can never cross, right? We talked about
Yeah.
what makes a celebrity being authentic,
Yeah.
and they can never be truly authentic. They can create they will almost have to hide the fact that's an AI for a while before maybe it's revealed like 10 years
Mm.
later. The celebrity you've known for 10 years, guess what? It's been AI the whole time. So I don't, because you think about like big celebrities like Taylor Swift or Beyonce, or there's a sense that you know them, but will people readily accept an AI and feel like they know them? I think they can, because I think human beings, because I hate to say it, I see it in my daughter, who's 12 years old, on
Yeah.
the internet and social media. They just believe what they see and hear without really doing any critical thinking about what that is. And I'd be curious to see what happens in the next 5 years. So we do create a big time celebrity that's AI generated. It's a wrap.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're going to have to fight against is you only have in these industries, you only have a very small amount of people who actually care about the integrity of something, right? Like you have a very small group of people. They always call it the artist, or
Mhm.
someone's building a home and they're like, hey, if you're going to build a home to this standard, you're only going to have a certain number of architects who know how to do it. But those certain few architects are upholding the standards of classic architecture and the human side of things. They're like, yeah, we're not just going to allow this and this to happen. If you want to do that, we're out of the project. Same thing with a lot of movies. It's, hey, listen, if you're going to do X, Y, and Z with AI, I'm sorry, we, the big players, are out of the project. And you can think about that with food and chefs. And there's certain people who are like, yeah, you're not just going to feed me this fake food or this whatever. But when you get outnumbered by the amount of people that just don't care, like somebody will walk into a restaurant, hey, give me a McRib. And somebody in the meat industry is like, dude, that's not even real meat. That's not, yeah, I don't care though. I just don't care.
Mhm.
There are too many people that just don't care. And when the money and the labor and the infrastructure all starts to lean towards the majority of people who don't care, that starts to tailspin out of control in a lot of different areas. Because anything that you care about, there's 99 people who don't. I care about I care about real turf on the football field. I want that real grass. And it's like a lot of people are like, that costs too much. It's like, what do you do?
No, I agree. I mean, I was just thinking about Beyond Meat. You remember that was like the big thing. Everybody's, oh, we're gonna be eating Beyond Meat. Everybody loves it. And Wendy's and Burger King got Beyond Meat burgers and all this stuff. And then that was a trend. And then people was like, oh, this don't taste good. I don't want it no more. And so now it's dead. So to your point, it's no matter what you're passionate about, if there are enough people, if there's not enough people, there's not a tipping point. Maybe that's a better accurate kind of description, or there's enough people to push it to the scale of the masses, that it's just not going to get anywhere. And yeah, I agree. I don't know where that would be with this AI kind of influencer, but I do feel like that we'll see more and more of that. But guess what? The actors are not taking this sitting down. Did you hear what Robert Downey Jr. did?
Oh, I heard a little bit about this. RDJ doesn't want AI RDJ, apparently. Something along that line. What's the story?
Yes, Robert Downey Jr., right? Fame, Iron Man's coming back as Dr. Doom. Go check out our podcast. We talked about that. Yeah, man, he basically is trying to prevent AI companies from using his digital likeness, right? His voice, his image. He said, I intend to sue all future executives who recreate my likeness. Yeah. So I don't know how you do that, but I'm assuming some kind of trust or something you set up, and basically you keep paying a retainer to a legal firm to be on the watch out for any AI type of likeness that's out there of him
Yeah.
into perpetuity. And so
Yeah.
I think that's what he's going to set up. And we heard about this. Let me finish my statement here. But I
Go
think
ahead.
with Scarlett Johansson, right? The whole Her, she used her voice for a movie called Her, which was about AI, artificial intelligence. Then basically there was a demo at OpenAI that used a voice that sounded just like her. After the fact, that comes to find out, they tried to negotiate with her to be the voice of OpenAI ChatGPT. So and she said no. So it goes to show you that these artists are on pins and needles about how their image is being used. And the sad part is, it's probably already taken. They,
Yeah.
these AI engines from OpenAI and other companies have already sucked up a lot of internet. So I'm sorry, RDJ, but your image is already in the matrix.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a good point. I'm just looking at this Variety article where he's talking, and Robert Downey Jr. says, "I'm not worried about them," talking about the MCU. "I'm not worried about the MCU hijacking my character's soul because there's 3 or 4 guys and gals who make all the decisions there anyway, and they would never do that to me, with or without me." And this is yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about, where it's like you have to have those people who care. And, somebody else, the Kara Swisher responded with, "Well, future executives certainly will hijack your character." And slowly over time, you start to chip away at the caring about the humanity of it all because, and I don't know if we can care. I
Well,
really
it
do.
was funny. It's hilarious. He said, this is what Robbie Downey Jr. responded. He said, "You're right. I would like to hear state that I intend to sue all future executives just on spec." So that's fighting words. So basically, that's another way of saying on site, right? If you
Yeah.
come from certain communities on site. He told her, he said, "Look, Swisher noted, you'll be dead." Downey said, "But guess what? My law firm will still be very active." So yeah, that's pretty much what he's going to be doing. Yeah, man. This AI stuff is, man, it truly is a game changer. We'll talk about computer use. How's that changing the game with AI agents and how you can create a laptop to basically do the work of 8 different employees, right? With a simple
Yeah.
prompt. So that's something we'll talk about maybe on another podcast. But yeah, man, this AI stuff is becoming more and more prevalent, and it's going to be indistinguishable, right, from a human being, at least digitally. And
Yeah.
so we talked about this too. Trust is probably going to be in-person events will probably be the standard bearer for true authenticity, right? Because we're
Yeah.
not going to know the difference online, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's, I think, where things become special. You can look to the music industry for that, where it's not so special to get a lot of streams and so special to be online, but when someone shows up, and Kanye West just showed up in China and did his big Korea and China. He showed up both those places, I believe, recently with his new album, and just has a listening party, not necessarily even a concert, just a listening party. And it's selling out and making a lot of money. And this is where they're getting a lot of their backing with that in-person touch, that connection. Man, I just don't know what the future's going to hold because I'm thinking about the things I care about, and then there are some things I don't care about. And it's going to be strange.
This is the business side, right? I think it's a positive thing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're business minded, this is huge opportunity, right? You could create something at little to no cost, right? You just got to be careful of who you use. I'm a big proponent of open source AI, and unfortunately, this is under the preview of right? Zuckerberg, right? He's
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
create this open AI system, but at least how it's being created, how's it being used, how they think it through stuff. So the technology may be behind, but at least you have more control over technology and start developing, man. Use your ingenuity to create something that's unique and different in the world and create value. But if you're just a worker bee, even artists, I think artists got to think differently, man. As a
oh yeah,
business guy, I would say as an artist, think differently. How can you incorporate into your vision of art? I think AI is a tool just like any other tool. And so you're going to have to make it your own, make it your bitch, just like a paintbrush, just like a
yeah,
canvas. So anyway, so that's my 2 cents as the business guy. I'm like salivate. Oh man, look at all the cost savings, man. I could just sit in my room and just make. I told my business partner, I said, man,
yeah,
I can have 5 computers and replace every employee.
yeah. Until somebody at Google clicks a button and their AI creates better code systems than you do, and what do you get? I'm just saying it can come from anywhere. Just I'm not for
Well,
it,
well,
not against
the
it. It's
business
just
thing is, the thing is, so the thing with business though, Google wouldn't go in certain industries because it just wouldn't move the needle fast enough for them. Yeah, they're a
mhm.
multi-billion-dollar company. So if I'm selling freaking baby toys to 8-year-olds, you think Google gonna try to take all my business? No, I can create an avatar that's targeted to them. You know what I'm saying? The more you niche, riches and niches,
But
right, Tim?
isn't
The
this
more you niche down,
yeah?
go ahead.
Isn't this what Amazon did with like diapers.com and countless other little industries where they slowly chipped them away? And it's, you know what? It just wasn't worth it.
To your point, I think there is a fair argument to that if it's perceived as a commodity product.
Okay.
Your role as a value creator is to create brand awareness around it. It can't be just a diaper. It's got to be a diaper with a blue sticker. Don't you want that blue sticker? That blue sticker means quality, the best products, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what you have to create. You have to create brand awareness and build that niche. So even if Google comes in for a lower price, yeah, but Google don't use the price I use, and it don't got that blue sticker.
I want to get my diapers from Diane down the street. That's how the brand situation is going to play out. There was this guy online, I forgot who it was. He had this theory about how everything gets hyper localized in the era of 3D printing, cheap computing, and access to internet and
Ooh.
all this. He said everything becomes hyper local once again, where it's, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
technically getting all of my basics, maybe from Amazon or whatever. But once you get past the basics, it's, yeah, I only want to wear jackets made in Southern Florida, or I only want to get my, and everything else starts to get really weird and esoteric. Like, yeah, I don't buy Tim's. Everybody in New York wears those. I'm just going to get my Converse All Stars. I'm out here in LA, so that's what I wear. But it's going to get more hyper localized, according to this theory. Valid thought,
No,
and
I can see that. I can see
yeah,
that. I
I
can
could
see
see
that.
it.
I can see that. Because guess what? AI can make that possible. You
Mm-hmm.
can be specifically targeted with AI to even have unique messaging for each one of your millions of customers. And
Yeah,
so now you're very specifically targeted, right, to your audience with the help of AI to help you do that. So, like I said, the opportunities of AI is, and so artists, look, let's be honest, in the history of mankind, anybody that's put their finger in the wall before a flood, right? Trying to stop the water from coming through a wall, brick wall, never ended up well, right? The flood came, the dam broke, and everybody got flooded anyway, right? So
oh
it's
my
like
god,
you can't stop the flow of technology, man. I hate to say it, but you just
yeah,
can't.
yeah,
The only thing you can do is just see the flow coming. Oh wow, there's some leaks in this wall, this dam. Let me go build a boat and be
yeah.
prepared, right? When it comes. So when that dam breaks, woo, I'm riding away. I don't get drowned by it. Ooh, that's good. I gotta write that down. Bars. You gotta ride that wave, man. You can't be the Dutch boy sticking your finger in the holes, man, from a leaking dam. You gotta ride it. Anybody that says they're gonna sue and all this other stuff, man, which is fine, but it's not gonna stop the flow of this technology.
Nah, nah, definitely not. What happens when, we're talking about online and being connected to people in AI? What happens when corporations start becoming more like people? I want to bring this one up because we've seen it happening slowly but surely, where you've got companies like Wendy's is a good example. We talked about them a little earlier. McDonald's, Dove, Dunkin'. They're these companies that are putting themselves out there as if they were people, right? Like you're talking to them. And it's funny. There was this TikTok out there where somebody had cut together all of these corporations talking to each other on social media, like
Mm.
without us, and we're just spectating, and we're like, oh, I like this, oh, I like that comment, oh my gosh, Jack in the Box, you so funny. And then Wendy's comes in and comments, and no, they're not funny, they're just full of grease, and they're cracking on their burgers and everything. And this one thread, as it said, it had contributions from McDonald's, Wendy's, Dove, Dunkin', Palmer's, Jack in the Box, Lano Lifts, JetBlue, Teletubby, Scrub Daddy, Walgreens, and Value City Furniture, and probably some others. But all of these corporations talking to each other. So the whole thing about corporations being people is starting to get more real. Does that bother you?
No, not at all. I still question that per se, Mr. Benja, because I'm a proponent of what Alex Hormozi talked about previously. He said it's just hard to have a company as a brand just by itself because people connect to people, number one. And
Mhm.
then it's hard to be aspirational to a entity. You need Nike have Michael Jordan, be like Mike. So you have to have somebody to be like,
Okay.
and that's what makes you gravitate you toward the brand. He says brands are associations, right? So you want to be
Sure.
like Mike, get a Nike. You like Wendy's, be a King, right? So there's association to an individual, a status, or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see. It could happen, but why did all these Burger King, McDonald's, they always had some kind of avatar, right? Some like the clown, right? Ronald McDonald, or
Yeah.
the king, something that people could aspire to. McDonald's reminds you of a fun time as a kid.
Yeah,
Clowns are
mascots.
not fun anymore. Yeah, mascots. Yeah. Clowns are not fun anymore. It is what it is. But I don't know. I just don't see them become fully ingrained into the consciousness as something to aspire to, or people know their brands and they're like, it is what it is. And they have certain symbols and stuff like that. Like, for instance, I was telling them, I was at this conference this weekend hanging with my marketing team, and we were talking about that. I was driving down the street and I saw this big capital G on a building. And the first thing I thought was what? Google. But it was different colors. I was like, what is this? It was another company. I can't remember what it was called. Maybe a pharmaceutical company. But I was like, Google owns a capital G now, baby. Even if they may not own the trademark of it
Yeah,
or
yeah,
legally, they own it in our consciousness. And so I
yeah.
think it's hard. Yes, they can own symbols and letters and numbers, maybe. I just hard pressed to see them own it in our consciousness as an association of something to aspire to, if that makes sense.
Have you ever been on a social media post and people are commenting back to the corporation as if they're having a conversation? I
I
know you've
haven't,
seen that.
so yeah, I've seen it. So yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm just watching what I think people are doing or what might be a thing. But it was so interesting just for me to see all these corporations talking to each other on social media. And we talked about the dead internet earlier, where this is supposed to be a social platform where people talk to each other, but now it's not. It's this spectacle, and you got corporations basically talking to each other and everybody following along and listening and deciding to cast our vote for Wendy's or cast our vote for Burger King or McDonald's. It's just this very strange thing. And so how did this start to move into our consciousness more? I was wondering about, I was thinking about customer service, right? You've got these customer service chatbots that are AI now. And then you call into a company and you get the phone message done, and it's hard for you to press buttons now. Now you have to talk to them. You have to talk to the robot. And I just want to press 3 to select this. And they're like, please say whether you want to go forward or backwards. I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I just want to press 1 or 2, man. Come on. And they force you to say. I don't know if you've ever experienced those call-in numbers, but it's just this weird thing. And we'll have to do a deep dive on the whole AI business. But I don't know. Apparently, though, it's not helping out Wendy's too much because they're closing a lot of locations. I don't know what Wendy's thinks it's
Didn't we
doing.
talk about Wendy's a couple? Didn't we talk about Wendy's a couple of weeks ago on the pod? Talk
Y- y-
about that
y-
saucy nug.
Yeah, you were excited about the saucy nugs. So against my best wishes, we posted the saucy nugs. It was fun. What's going on with these
It
guys?
was. And businessman be businessman. They got cut. They got cut costs. Look, they have another outdated, located out underperforming areas. So, have you been to a Wendy's lately?
No, there's one around the corner, not too far from me, but it's off in the cut. So no, I never go to it. Never see anybody in the parking lot.
There you go. That's why they cut
Mm.
costs. Yeah, business is not hard. If people are cutting costs, is because underperforming assets and people are not doing what they should be doing to keep the value of the property going. And if you can't do that, then of course it's going to have to close the asset down. So I see that happening more and more. Wendy's still a brand, and so it can still have value. It's just they just have to cut it in certain areas. It's a go-to, but let's be honest, there's no staple. Burger King has a Whopper, what you call it, the McDonald's Big Mac. You have a Happy Meal too. So they got iconic food items. Even what's it called? Chick-fil-A, the nuggets. But it's like, what's Wendy's known for? Maybe the Frosty, but that can't
What
be
was
high
noted
profit margins.
yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
that's faded
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So it's what the burgers ain't the greatest, or is not that square burger. Who wants that? Or no, I think that's White Castle. But see, White Castle has a better brand.
They do this. They do square meat patties because it's actually cheaper. They had a whole process around developing a square meat patty. I saw in the Wendy's documentary.
Look at you. Watching documentaries on Wendy's.
Basically,
I love it. Yeah, man. Business 101.
Yeah. You think Tyler Perry eats at Wendy's?
He may have back in the day, not now.
Uh-oh.
Consider his net worth.
Uh-oh. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tyler Perry, man. I guess this is an interesting transition for us, but I guess I wanted to bring it up a little bit on this pod. It's the quintessential show versus business conversation, right? Is Tyler Perry a better artist or better businessman?
Wait, that's a question? No.
Yes. The results say that he's a better businessman if he's worth $1.4 billion in assets.
Yes.
Now, is he a good artist?
It's funny though, he's definitely got his audience. So when someone has their audience, I can't knock the artistry too hard, because if they have their audience and they're always doing their thing for their audience and their audience comes out and shows support, then that's an art on a certain level I just might not understand. And I'm like, cool, that's what you're into, that's your thing. Go ahead and do it. Because we talked about this Rotten Tomatoes score last time and it was just terrible. But then you look at all the comments and people are like raving over his stuff. What are you talking about? It was good. It had this and this. It was fun. Good for the family. Y'all stupid. It was just like, end of discussion. Get out of my face with that. On a, what was it? On a horrible Rotten Tomatoes score. I want to say, was it in the teens? I don't know.
I can't recall, man. But then he had a brand, right? He was a opponent. It was supposed to be Judeo-Christian values, right? It was dressed up with a black man in a dress, which is something that's no at this point. But fine. But with his latest foray into like domination on streaming, I remind you, everyone, he has all these shows on BET Plus that he just puts out there, and he pretty much owns BET at this point. But he's got relationship with Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. So basically, he can put any kind of content out there. He's been migrating over into the R-rated stuff, man. So this latest one called Beauty in Black, it debuted at number 2 with 1.2 billion minutes watched for the week of October 25th to October 31st. But I had a chance to go see the movie. I went ahead and watched it for personal reasons. Not that I'm a Tyler Perry fan, but shout out to Uncle Rico. My uncle plays one of the characters in there. He's an actor out of LA, been a long time actor. If you go watch Aliens, he was Lieutenant Frost. And so he's been acting for a long time. So he got cast in this Tyler Perry show. And it's not my cup of tea, Mr. Benja. Not at all. And I see why I haven't liked Tyler Perry for a long time. From an artistry standpoint, it's just, you're right. He has his audience. I don't know who the audience is, man, at this point, because at one time it was by Judeo-Christian, Black audience, church-going audiences, because that's how he got started. Mm-hmm. But when you have something where every other word out of people's mouths is MF this, you that, choking women, very misogynistic, extreme character swings, one minute smiling in your face, next minute they shooting you in the head with a gun. You just, what is this show about? and I guess he's going for that telenovela where it's just like extreme, like a soap opera kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, man. Anyway, but you're right. He's got an audience.
So I got the numbers here now. I made a mistake. Mea Culpa was his previous title, or one of his previous titles that got 18% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. Divorce in the Black scored a 0% on the tomato meter for the critics. Now the audience score is at 73%. So this is the disparity I was talking about. But a 0%, that's hefty. These critics were just tearing into it. It's just Nicholas Bell talking about yet another narrative metastasized between the ineptitude of Tyler Perry's quill, Divorce in the Black, an exploitative odyssey of the Black community, and soap opera cliches. Ironically, Nicholas Bell does not look like he's a part of the Black community, and he doesn't care about soap opera cliches. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who liked it are in that community. So yeah, to your point, novellas.
Yeah, and so a little behind the scenes when my dad who spoke to my uncle about it. And hey, maybe we'll get Uncle Rico on the pod. We'll see. I'm gonna reach out to him. Maybe he'll tell us some more insights on the business of just what it means to create Tyler Perry type shows because he's gonna be coming back for season 2. He told me, so it'll be interesting. But look, the way Tyler Perry does it, man. He writes so many shows. Right, he's out there. We'll talk about another creator who does so many shows, but. And from my understanding, he goes out to his island where he just writes all these shows. So every show he's created, it always says written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. And I guess the way he does it, yeah. And Donald Glover hinted at, I don't know if you watched the Atlanta episode where he did like a mock up of Tyler Perry, but basically it's like they have all these cameras everywhere and people just act and they get one take, maybe two, and okay, go to the next scene. And
Yeah.
basically things done in post so he can get through the day so he can get pages done. It might take people like 3 months to get a series done. He can get done in a month because he just has so much content and he's got all these editors that cut it down. He rewrites it in editing bay to how this is going to be the most sensational. I guess if a scene is boring or whatever, he's going to spice it up with a gunfight. That it don't matter how if the gunfight makes sense. Just it makes the scene interesting. So let's just do that.
So he's got his audience and his process streamlined, and he does everything in-house, or a lot of it is done in-house. So that's another way that he keeps his money together. And you said he was worth 1.4 billion. I love it.
Yeah.
Not mad at it.
As Black guys, we can't be mad at the player, but kind of mad at the game.
I figured I'd be the one mad at the game, but maybe I saw his documentary, Maxine's Baby, it was on Amazon. I'm not sure if it still is, but that's actually worth watching. It's,
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I think you told me about it and my wife told me, so I'm going to check it out. It gives you more clarity on, oh no, my barber told me, he said I should watch it too. So
Yeah, you definitely don't have to be a Tyler Perry fan. It's not one of those types of documentaries. It's just an interesting insight into this person who's so driven, connected. And yes, the title makes sense later on. About part of the way through, you're like, you start to get a little bit of the vibe of what he's going for. But one interesting thing is he plays these roles as he's working, which is the fascinating part. Like you say, writer, producer, director. When you see him writing, he like doesn't want to talk to people. He's head down. And then when you see him directing, you see him like, okay, I need to get in my direction mode. You'll see him go calling out orders and people are like, oh snap, he's on. And then it's just this fascinating jump between all these different ways of working in one person. And it hints at the fact that he might not be well. So it's good stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Like this is show versus business, so we cover all aspects of it. So, like I said, maybe we'll get Uncle Rico on the call on the pod. He may give us some insights behind the scenes. So he's worked on TV shows like Doctor Who and Aliens, Tyler Perry. So he covers the gambit. Matter of fact, he was the one that introduced me to Denzel Washington. I didn't know who that was back in the day. I'm like, who's Denzel Washington? So yeah, we're gonna play ball with Denzel Washington. I'm like, who? So there you go. That gives you context of where I come from. And for those that don't know, I grew up in LA. So James, go ahead. Rack this one up as a short.
Yes.
All right. What's next, Mr. Benja?
Hey, so we've been doing some random stuff this time. You want to do a little bit of a feature? Talk a little bit about a Batman kind of thing we had going on?
Oh, man, I'm always down to talk about Batman. Let's do it.
It's not Black Batman week, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So we were just wondering, we'd been talking about the Penguin, the HBO series here and there, Max series. What are they calling it now? HBO series or Max series?
Sure.
Anyway, the new series has been getting compared to The Sopranos and a lot of solid reviews. And we started wondering, okay, we know the Batman villains are wonderful. We know they've got so much depth and lore and really add to the whole mystique of Batman and Gotham City and the dark side of DC, the gritty side. Who are some other characters that would be good for the Batman treatment, for the Penguin treatment, for this new era of gritty, realistic, grounded drama series treatment? So we're just going to have some names here and we're just going to throw them out and bat them back and forth a little bit. And I don't know, Theo, if you have a favorite, you can jump in whenever you like and start with that. but we can do a back and forth and just pick a name from the hat and we'll discuss it a little bit. How's that?
Hey, well, let's do it, man. Let me know. Let's go.
All right, who do you want to start with?
I think the one I always go back to, because it seems like that's the one they go back to, especially in the early point of Batman's career, Two-Face. It's
Mm.
just, I didn't think he was the greatest villain. Seems simplistic in a little bit. Flip a coin, you live or die. Don't seem as a big mastermind. Maybe I've never read the all-encompassing Two-Face crime drama, right? We'll talk about other villains later. But I do feel like in relationship to Batman and Bruce Wayne, he's a perfect mirror, right? And it's because Bruce Wayne knew him when he was Arthur Dent, and they were friends, and now he's one of his villains, and he's also split, just like Batman, where Batman wears a mask to distinguish between Bruce Wayne
Yeah,
and Batman. Two-Face has his mask always on his positive face.
yeah.
So I think Batman, whenever he sees him, he's just reminded of where he messed up or who he could have become. And so I think that's why it would be interesting to see just Two-Face just out in the streets doing his
I
thing.
think I think that's an understated but a great choice because if you're talking about storytelling, you can always have this simplistic kind of black and white, good and evil, and you have that wrapped up in one person who, whatever side that person picks, whatever side Harvey Dent picks, the good side or the bad, he's going to have to live with it. And you see that in the way his stories play out, where it's okay, I'm going to do this, and everybody that's around him just has to deal with it. They're like, okay, now we're doing this. So with probability, the coin toss, at the end of an episode, he's like, all right, am I going to go this way or this way? And you're like, oh crap, what is he going to do? And he flips a coin, cut to black. It's like next episode, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. He just made a crazy question and flipped a coin. And you could almost do that every episode and just have a cliffhanger on how it's going to turn out. I just think that makes for very good television and an interesting
Mhm.
character wrestling with this.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Just think about also his connection to the gangster world, right?
Mhm.
That's Penguin. You talked about Penguin. That's absolutely immersed in that world. So if you guys don't know, Batman, they had was it year one or year two story, The Long Halloween. And Penguin is based on a lot of that storyline, right? With the Falcons and the Salvatores and like their battle to control Gotham. So basically before Gotham became Rogue's Paradise for Batman, right? It was run by gangsters. And so that goes to show you too, man, Batman may have brought the weirdness to Gotham, right? He was trying to prevent crime. He
Yeah,
may have
yeah,
made it worse. Let's be honest.
yeah.
So anyway, what's it called? Escalation. They talked about that on the Batman trilogy. But anyways, I think that would be a good one. You want me to say one next?
No,
So I guess the
you
one I
started.
would, oh, I did start? Okay. Yeah. What you got? What you got?
All right, actually, Victor Zaz, serial killer, and he's got if you the only noticeable mark about him is that he's bald headed and he's got tally marks, the 1, 2, 3, 4/5 marks all over his body, and these are times that he's killed somebody. What I didn't know and just recently found out is that he was very successful. He owned his own international company. He had a huge personal fortune. And at 25, his parents died in a boating accident that sent him into a deep depression. And it was a series of unfortunate events. And you just see somebody who's on top of their game going crazy after all these events to the point where he wants to start marking off people literally and figuratively and just like getting rid of them. Yes, this person is a part of the problem. I had issues and I know what these people can do. So I'm just going to get rid of that kind of person. Oh, that person lied on TV and that person did this. They're the type of people that caused my downfall. I got to get rid of that person. So it definitely wouldn't be a happy type of series. Maybe you're dealing with some dark form of Dexter going
Yeah.
around, but
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I just thought Victor Zaz would be a good one.
Yeah. Dexter was interesting. Remember when it came out? It was, this dude really gonna kill somebody? And he sure did in the first episode. So, ooh,
Like,
this
oh,
is real. So yeah, that was like the first time the main character is literally a serial killer. So yeah, it could be done. I don't know. Serial killers, it seems like they've been done to death. I have a theory that because I think they're doing serial killers so much. I think I read somewhere it's harder to be a serial killer nowadays in a
Mm,
traditional sense. If you're out there basically shooting folks up, doing whatever in one setting, yes, that's considered that. But a traditional, when we grew up, right, Zodiac or Wayne Gracie, those guys that are
mhm.
out there and they're doing their thing, because of the internet and sleuths and just all kinds of stuff, it's just very hard to have that. So I don't know how believable it would be, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right. So who you got?
Won't be my next. Yeah. Who do I get next? So this is the Batman's Rogues Gallery of shows. Got so many, man. It's not even funny. That's funny. We haven't said this one yet, and I think it's because this character is so unknown. They always make up his backstory whatever is important. But
Mm,
wouldn't it be great to get the definitive like Joker story or just insight into who he was? I do like the Killing Joke, right? You ever read that one,
mhm.
Alan Moore series about like he's just average Joe, just had a bad day, right? So anybody can be the Joker. I'm crazy to be someone that super intelligent. And be honest with you, look, a lot of these guys they this a little bit. Did you ever watch the Gotham series at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see all of it, but I saw bits and pieces. It did a great job with the Penguin, the Riddler. We'll talk about later. Joker. They did a proto Joker. It was interesting how they did that. I'm not gonna spoil it, but basically they cheated a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know. Be interesting. I don't know. Let's see. What would be a synonymous kind of show? The only show they did that was interesting. Did you ever see Legion at all?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
Remember, it's about I forgot he's basically Charles Xavier's son. I forgot the character's last name, but David something.
Mhm.
But he's a mutant, and the interesting thing about him is he has multiple personalities, and every personality pops up, he has a new power set. So, but the way they did it was very weird. He never knew what was real, what was truthful, and all that. I think they could do something similar with the Joker character, right? I mean, his mind's got to be so fragmented and demented to be on that level. So, might be interesting.
Okay. I was having trouble with the Joker actually, just because he's a chaotic force, and maybe do something really wild. Like every episode, he's playing out a different psychosis, because
Yes.
that's one of the things that actually happened in Arkham. They were trying to diagnose him, and they sent all these doctors in, and all the doctors came out with different diagnoses, and they were like, "Wait a minute, I thought you said he was a this." No, he displayed this and this kind of personality. I don't know. Maybe every episode would be a different type of crazy, and you just can't pin him down. You can't pin down his story, and the whole thing is you're
Exactly.
trying to piece together what he is when it's really an impossible feat. So I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I like the idea of, and I know I'm picking rather not the obvious characters here, but the Mad Hatter.
Interesting.
Yes, the Mad Hatter, another character who doesn't show up too much in Batman's stories, but is always around. It's definitely taken from, obviously, Alice in Wonderland, the Lewis Carroll thing. But the thing I like about him is that he's all about mind control and trying to control people through hypnotics, suggestion, um, implants. And one thing with his hats is he puts the hats on people, and they've got these devices on them that can control people. Maybe plays out like a mystery or something, where these people are doing these acts and they don't know how it's happening, and you can't really be sure if what somebody said was what they wanted to say or is the Mad Hatter's influence. And he's behind the scenes a little bit, so maybe it's a mystery of some sort to like try to figure out exactly who he is, where he's at. Maybe the Saw type of thing, where you're trying to figure out who's controlling these people as opposed to devices. But Mad Hatter, I like him.
That's a deep cut, man. I can't think of the one man. I have, what's it, was it the Mexoplex? Is that how you say his name from
Mr.
Superman?
Plex. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Plex. Yeah. I'd rather see a show of that than Mad Hatter. At least he has a different planet in the world and character building. Mad Hatter seems Alice in Wonderland cosplay, right? Yeah, too much. Yeah. I digress.
Yes.
So yeah, my thing is, and maybe we'll wrap it up here in a little bit, but I was looking at your list here. I don't know, man. Something about
Rapid fire the listing.
yeah, we go rapid fire. We go back and forth. Bane. I don't know. Something about Bane. Just the Bane of it all. Just going around and just cracking backs and just growing up to wreck shop. It'd be cool. It was reminiscent of he's like a reverse Batman. All these guys are different personalities of Batman. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Bane is he grew up in a harsh environment with no parents, but he became Bane. And so it'll be interesting to see that backstory.
Yeah, I'd only want to see that if it was basically following the Night's End kind of deal, where the whole back-breaking incident took place and his cronies Bird and all that. So that's the only way that'd be interesting to me. I don't know about him outside of Batman. So another rapid fire here, Clayface. I'd actually like to see a little bit of a murder mystery, or maybe I'm into the mysteries for some reason, but Clayface going around not knowing who he is, and he's changing his face, slowly descending into madness and not losing himself. I don't know, tragic story of an actor.
Yeah. Ra's al Ghul, to me, that's just the Bruce's mentor, but / enemy. Obviously, we saw in Batman Begins, just international kind of spy series. He's trying to take over the world. So that'd be cool.
All right. I wouldn't want to see him at all.
Like the Lazarus Pit? Man, come on. Let's be honest. Damian Wayne, man. That's the best character Batman. I love Damian, man. You ever read any of his stories?
Yeah, Damian's cool. Okay, leaning on that, him and his family, that could actually work. Yeah. So if you just had a Penguin type story of Ra's al Ghul and his family,
real quick, but if you don't know, basically think he's got all the skills of Batman, but he knows it and he's just cocky as hell. He's like a 10-year-old boy. I love it, man. Ooh, who created that character? Was it Warren Ellis, man? I love that character, man. Because every time he shows up, I've seen him in Young Justice, man. He's got that same attitude, man. They just all gleam on it because it's funny. It's like an asshole Batman. He knows he's better than you, and he'll tell you about it too.
Yeah. If you thought Batman was an a-hole, just wait.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange. I'm all for this. I'm all for doctor dramas and having a mad, crazy, out of control doctor doing some unfortunate-ish. It just gets me. Doctor, you can't do that. Here's $100,000. Shut the hell up. Okay. Good. I don't know.
You want to do honorable mention real quick?
Yes. Jump in it.
Two things I was going to say. You want to guess this I was going to say, but Catwoman and Harley Quinn. Let's be honest, they already have their own shows. We've seen a Catwoman movie. There's a Catwoman TV series out there, if you didn't know, like cartoon. And obviously they got Harley Quinn, comedic version of the MCU. So even though they're women versions, because Batman does have women villains, but they're just not as prevalent. Just honorable mention that they do have some interesting points. And so that would be cool. But the ultimate honorable mention is Adaptation.
Yes, indeed. Boom.
Mr. Benja, what do you think about Adaptation?
Pow. Bang. That's the one I want, man. That's actually a pretty weird, badass character. Shout out to Kevin Smith, who doesn't always hit me with the things that I'm like really into. He got me with this one.
Shout out. We talked about it last episode. Go check out our Halloween episode, guys. We talked about it. He popped up on the Cape Crusader just out of blue. I didn't even know who that character was, and I had to go look it up. And then when I saw it, I was like, that's fire.
Yeah. I knew of him, but I didn't know anything about him. Like I seen the face and the mask. I'm like, all right, that sounds corny, but whatever. But it worked out.
It was awesome. Anyway, man, anything else, Mr. Benja? What else you got planned? I think we're going to wrap it up here. But so what do you got planned for the week? Anything else you want to talk about to let everyone know what you're working on?
Oh, man, what I got planned? I'm going to meditate and stave off my anxiety.
Oh, man. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. In the States, we all got a little anxiousness around us coming in. We record this on the Tuesday in November. We all got a little anxiety, at least on that side for me. But yeah, Mr. Benjamin, this is always fun, man, enjoyable. Everyone, look, I hope you enjoyed what we talk about. Look, if you like this information, like just what we talk about, look, go like us, man. Go check us out on all of our social channels. We are there on YouTube, Instagram, Threads. Just go check us out, Show versus Business, wherever you look at those social channels. But listen to us also for our podcast, audio podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So we also have a website, Show versus Business. You can see the latest information and all that good stuff. All right, Mr. Benja, have a great one, man.
Peace.